The rural way of life is about making everyone feel at home. Tractor Supply chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to transform intelligent customer service. Together, we put the power of AI to work across 2,200 stores, keeping things running seamlessly inside, curbside, and countryside. This is elevated customer experience. This is Tractor Supply with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
Shopping is hard, right? But I found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And he sends just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what works and send back the rest. It's so easy. Make style easy. Get started today at StitchFix.com/Spotify. That's StitchFix.com/Spotify.
Welcome to Board Gamers Anonymous, the podcast where everyone is welcome to the table, but of course, no one knows whose turn it is. This is Chris.
And this is Chris.
And this is episode 529, Top 10 Dexterity Games, with board games for the better. Welcome back, everybody. So glad that you've joined us here this week. And this week, our friend Chris Rodriguez from Board Games for the Better has joined us. Hey, Chris, how's it going?
Hey, how's everything?
It's doing well, my friend. I'm so glad that you were able to step in for Anthony. Anthony will be out for the next 2 weeks. He's taking care of his mom out in the West Coast. So if you have a moment, thoughts and prayers, because mom's not feeling too great. But Anthony is listening, and we'll be back soon. So we're grateful to have you here, Chris. And Chris has been on before.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris and I have been working together for quite some time, trying to get tabletop games to underserved communities, because as we know, Chris, tabletop games are awesome and they help so many different people out there in the world.
And they should be for everybody.
100%. So Chris, before we get into the episode, I know a lot of our listeners know you, but again, give me a little tiny pitch about what your organization does.
Yeah, so we're Board Games for the Better. We're a nonprofit based out of New York City. Our goal is to bring board games and board gaming days to communities that are in need. So places like children in foster care, domestic violence shelters, schools in low-income neighborhoods, etc. Like places where they might not have access to games and be able to use the mental benefits, the social benefits, give them an opportunity to have those games at the table. And so that's what we're here for.
Excellent. And Chris, if and when and how can people support you in your mission to help all the great people out there in the world?
So you can find us on Instagram at Board Games for the Better. And if you want to support our mission, you can go to boardgamesforthebetter.org and you can donate through there. You can donate funds. We also take any games. If you guys are looking to cull your collections and rehome your games, we will happily help you with that. And then all those games will be brought to all the communities that we help out in.
Excellent. Yeah, and Chris and Aaron do a lot of great raffling. So it's a good opportunity to get some great games and to spread some great games around the community.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. So with that said, let's get into the episode. And of course, talking about a little bit about the news, what's going out there in the world. Spiel des Jahres. They are the biggest game awards in the world, and this year, like every year, they've come out with their nominees, and we always like talking about them because they really do have the pulse of what gamers or what new games are really going to be big in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And the big prize here, starting off with the actual big ones here, the Spiel des Jahres. First up, Bomb Busters. This is a game that we've talked about. We talked about in the podcast previously. Really cute little game where it's all about snipping the right wires before everything goes boom. Uh, uh, this is adorable,
Yeah,
right, Chris?
I've been
What do you
wanting
think?
to get my hands on Bomb Busters. I'm a big fan of co-op games in general, and this game gives me a lot of the same vibes that keep talking and nobody explodes. Yeah,
Yes.
it really reminds me of that, but in a board game form.
Yeah, it's a good family game. It's a good deduction game, co-op
Hmm.
game, some memory elements to it, and it's really got a great presentation. It really fits beautifully in the line. And Spiel did an excellent job here, so really loving that. Next up, Flip 7. This is from Cosmo Games. This is a little deck of cards where you're pressing your luck.
So I'm actually surprised that this came on to Spiel Jahres because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like this game just hit the shelves not too long ago. So the fact that it picked up
Yeah.
so much traction and landed itself on this list is really impressive. Um, I
Mm-hmm.
think we both recently played this,
We
so
did.
yeah. So I'm really excited to see what you think about Flip Seven as well.
All right. We'll talk about that when we
Yeah.
roll. And then finally, Crackle Oracle. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that necessarily correctly. This is an interesting little drawing game where you have lines already on your dry erase board, and then you're drawing images to kind of match clues and things. In order to win the game, it's not here in the U.S., so I have not gotten a chance to play it, but it looks really funky. It seems like a very good gateway game for
Yeah.
gamers.
I would love the chance to try this because I feel like there's the game Fake Artist Goes to New York that I
Yes.
feel like I really liked for a very short amount of time, and it kind of lost its appeal. And I feel like this is the kind of game I feel like we would stick with my group a little bit more. One
Sure.
is just co-op, which I'm just a big fan of co-ops in general.
Yes.
And this one is just like it takes almost the pressure away of drawing with the pre-made lines.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Good point.
yeah, and I feel like the the game with fake artists, like the little like quirk of like who's the person that doesn't know the hint, kind of goes away pretty quickly. But I feel like if you guys are
Yes.
working together to try to guess what's going on, that just sounds like a more interesting game to me.
Excellent. Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And Spiel des Jahres, they always want to be able to provide games for like what is really the true gateway community.
Yeah,
Because a lot of times we're like, hey, this is a good gateway game, but almost always those games are a little too heavy, a little too crunchy, way too many cognitive mechanisms to it. And if you really want to bring people to the table to really create some sort of community that you can build positively from, it's got to be a game that is as available to just everybody
yeah,
possible. So yeah, it's a great point, Chris, about the line drawing because I think even when you play Pictionary, it can be very daunting for a lot of people if they're not really up with the how to draw.
oh yeah.
Bomb Buster seems a little heavy in this area.
Hmm.
I'm a little surprised that Bomb Busters is there, but the other two make a lot of sense. Let's just well, I guess we can zoom down a little bit to the Kinderspiel. The Kinderspiel here is the kids game of the year, and we have Cascadia Junior. Anthony's a big fan of Cascadia. I have not played Cascadia yet.
You
Chris, you played
haven't?
this,
Oh my
right?
god! Yeah,
I
it's one of
know.
my like favorite little tiling games.
Ooh,
Yeah. I would love to get my hands on a copy of Cascadia Junior just to see like the difference. Because if this is similar to how Carcassonne and Carcassonne Junior is, where it's just like a little bit like pared
Sorry, could
down.
you say that again?
Oh, oh, I said it, I would love to get a copy of Cascadia Junior. Yeah, I would love to see if this is just like Cascadia, just like parsed down a little bit. In which case, I think that would
yeah.
be really, really good. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, I would love to give that one a shot.
Yeah, this would be great for the kids. I think your nephews would love
Yeah,
this. So yeah, that's up for a possible win there. I think it's probably our favorite because it's been around here in the U.S. for quite some
yeah.
time, and a little more simple version might be great. And then there's two others. Again, I'm going to be butchering the names here, so please forgive me. Le Clan des Cerises It looks like a game full of mice and monsters. So, yeah, it's a French game. Little mice venture into the woods in search of teeth for the tooth fairy. Okay. Looking at the pictures here, it's utterly, incredibly, insanely adorable.
It gives me like
So,
it makes me feel like a children's book I'm reading.
yes, it looks really cute. Co-op game, memory game, communication game, adorable. Yeah, I could see picking that up too. And then finally from Wolfgang Warsch, Taupe de Torte. So we're looking at cakes here, torts here. Again, forgiveness. Anthony's not here. Anthony does the heavy lifting with the pronouncing of the words. But this looks cute. This is another. It looks a little more on the abstract side here,
Okay.
as far as putting things together. But adorable little games. It's great being a kid when you get these kind of games.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. And then finally, the category we probably care about the most is the Kenner Spiel. This is the heavier or the gamer game of the year. We're looking at 3 games here. Endeavor Deep Sea. We've already reviewed this. Chris, have you played this yet?
I haven't played Endeavor. No, I wish.
We really enjoyed it. We had a really good time with this. This is a re-implementation of Endeavor Age of Sail. And it's all about the ocean, and you have your submarines, and you're examining sea life, and you're exploring, and it does not have the slavery from the first edition. So there you go.
Perfect.
You take out the slavery, you get yourself an award. Are you listening, people? You don't need colonization. You don't need slavery, sexism, homophobia, racism. You don't need any of those things in a tabletop game. And you'll get awards. You just get awards each and every time. Come on, people. Get on board. That's all I'm saying. Chris is on board. You're on board.
I'm
right, Chris?
100% on board. I feel like
See, he's on
I feel like
board.
the only game that's worked for colonization is Spirit Island, where it's all about not colonizing. Decolonization. Just scare the colonizers away.
That's right. Got to fight the power, people. If you're not doing that, I don't know why you're here on this planet. Big shout out and support to all the people who are fighting the power. I'm getting a little misty here, but it's a really good thing people are doing. And now more than ever, the people in need really do need your support.
Yes.
So whatever you could do in your community, for the world, and for the people in need, please do. And again, tabletop gaming is a very small part of that. But again, the more we can kind of remove that stuff from games, again, the more recognition and awards it'll get. And I think it'll win here. But the other 2 games here, Chris, I have not played. Maybe you have played.
No.
First up here is Far Away. Have you played Far Away?
No, I haven't played any of these titles, actually. Far Away,
Oh.
and the other one is Loot. Well, sorry, Loot!
Yes. Far Away's been out for a little while. I have not played it myself. This is a bidding game, hand management, drafting kind of game, fantasy. And then Loot, I don't know if that's even in the US at this point. So the Loot with 3 O's. That's no, I have not played this. Looks pretty cool. Looks like a abstract-y kind of path building, area control kind of game.
It's interesting because I feel like this is the first year. Normally, I always go and I look at the Kenner Spiel, and I always think like, oh, like what games are on here? What games should I be picking up from here? But I actually feel like this year I'm really all in for the Spiel Jahres. Like those 3 games are so much more interesting to me than the Kenner Spiel or the Kenner Spiel right now.
Yes, 100%. So those are your nominations. They'll be announced later in the year. We'll bring you more information about those games. They all look pretty cool. I'm really excited about it. I think certainly Endeavor Deep Sea. I don't know about the kids games. Kids games are adorable. It's kind of hard.
I feel like it's going to be hard to topple Cascadia because it's got like a pretty good pedigree on it.
Cascadia Kids. I mean, it's a good way to teach kids about animals and environmental concerns because now more than ever they're at risk and threatened. Again, education is key to keeping those animals and our environment and the planet going. So that's pretty awesome. And then I guess the Spiel Jahres is going to be the toughest one, Chris. But we'll talk about Flip 7 in a little bit. Bomb Busters is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But again, those Spiel Jahres people, they might just go with the drawing game because I think you make the best point here, Chris. Like, that's just going to allow people to play.
Yes,
And
that's
that's really awesome.
that's the like you can get most people to play Crackle Oracle.
Yes. And, my family plays Telestrations. The most fun about playing Telestrations is the bad drawings.
Yes.
So when you're kind of forced to do bad
Yeah,
drawings,
it's the
I think that's really the
nobody
fun.
can be a good artist in this game, which I like. It's it's something that we'll talk later on about, like dexterity games I really enjoy is the
Yes. Hmm.
equalizer effect that like some games have to put in,
Yes.
and that's those pre-drawn lines are a perfect equalizer.
Absolutely. All right. So with that said, just let's give you all some state of the BGA updates. So first up, we want to mention that we are holding our third annual academic conference, where everyone could discover the serious side of fun at our conference on October 4th and 5th this year, 2025, at the Strong Museum of Play. And we're really excited about this. We have 19 different people who have submitted abstracts. They're going to be doing presentations. We have an amazing panel. We have an amazing keynote speaker. More details about that are going to be revealed the next couple of weeks. Why it's really important for you to know now is because registration, the early bird, is going to run out, I think, June 1st. So by the time you listen to this episode, you'll have the rest of the week. This is really a great opportunity because with your registration, you'll be able to, at a discount, you'll be able to come to the museum for the whole weekend for free. The hotel rooms are heavily discounted block of rooms, and it's only a 5-minute walk to the museum itself. We have events, we have games, we have tours, we have special guests, we have a lot of great things happening, and you get to go to a really fun place. So a lot of times when you go to a conference or a convention, maybe there's nothing for the family to do. Your family has something to do here, and it's all about play, and we really want to see you all there. So check out Board Game Academics, and you'll get more information there. And I think once Anthony comes back, he'll post all the information about the presenters and speakers. So that should probably be up in maybe about 1 or 2 weeks. But if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We would love to see you there. It's a great space and a great opportunity to connect with other gamers out there in the world. All right. And finally, just a short mention here, because we've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks. Anthony started a board game, a book club kind of thing. We're going to be talking about, Chris, I don't know if this is a favorite of yours, the board game Terraforming Mars.
Oh,
yes.
Actually, haven't played it mainly because yeah, my wife, who I play most of my games with, doesn't really like space themed games. So Terraforming Mars
Okay.
has eluded us.
Well, on I think we are on episode 532. We've asked everyone to play it in any form possible, whether you play it on Steam, Board Game Arena, you play it in physical person, right? You play it on
Mhm.
cardboard, and then come on and talk about it. Because send us information, send us hot takes, quotes, game experiences. It's Chris. It's one of the biggest tabletop games out there, so
Yeah.
you owe it to yourself to play it. Again, different versions may vary because it has so many expansions and so many different implementations, but it's probably one of the best board games ever, other than a lot of caveats that I will not get into at the moment. I'll save that for the episode.
Okay. Um,
So
what if somebody plays Terraforming Mars, the dice game, or Ares Expedition?
that still counts.
Oh,
We're going to
okay.
still count that. Actually, and I've talked about this in my top 100. The Ares edition is my favorite version of Terraforming Mars.
That's the one. So Ares Expedition is essentially the Race for the Galaxy version, right?
It is.
And then
Yes.
the dice game is more like Roll for the Galaxy.
Kind of.
Yeah,
Yes.
just to make the
Yeah.
comparison between. Yeah.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comparison to it. So yeah, no, they're all three great versions of a great game. Again, some challenges and problems with it, but it's definitely worth your time. Check it out.
Yes.
All right. So that's what's coming up with BGA. Please keep up with us. All the information. Again, BoardGamersAnonymous.com has all the information for everything that's going on with the podcast, where to connect with us, where to link up. And Board Game Academics has all the academic stuff that you want to check out. Again, we're still running our Victory Point essays. So if you have something that you want to talk about tabletop gaming, and your experiences. We would love to hear from you there as well. And that leads us up to the episode here, Chris. So let's get on our roll for preview. So, Chris, for my roll for preview, this is a game that I wanted to talk about for quite some time. I talked about this way back in the day. This is a game that's called Trismegistus, and that is a mouthful.
Yes, it is.
It took me a very long time to be able to actually pronounce that properly, because it's a mouthful. There's no way to kind of like figure that out, because it was in a very weird, bad, broken rule book, and everyone had a different way to pronounce it. Everyone had a different way to play it, and it was kind of a bit of a nightmare to get to the table, because it was a great game from Board and Dice, but it was an unfinished game. So there was a lot of challenges and problems with it. And then they didn't say anything about it. Like, we were always hoping that there'd be an expansion, or that we would see it, one day in the future. And just recently they announced, and currently it's up on GameFound, there is a brand new special edition from Board and Dice that you can back right now. At the time of this recording, it's 13 days. You'll probably have about a week or so. Pick it up. So Trismegistus is about a game of alchemists who uses magical powers to transform one material into another material. So basically, it's a beautiful, colorful version of you take one cube, it turns it into another cube, it turns into another cube, and then you complete a contract, or in this case, maybe a spell. So it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. Board and Dice has really updated their game a lot on their artistic presentation. Yeah. And I have not played it, and I'm hoping that they've made the changes that they need to make so that you can actually play the game in a meaningful way, because, as I said earlier, it had problems, Chris, but it's back, and it looks pretty, at the very least. We can say it looks pretty.
It does look... I'm looking at the old board compared to the new one. It does look way, way better. I also see that on the Steam campaign, they have a roll and write version.
Yeah. So, not too bad. And I'm taking a look back here. Yeah, I reviewed this on episode 246 back in 2019, Chris.
Oh, man.
So it's been a while.
That's a different world back then.
Remember? Oh, man.
The before times.
That was the before times. Yeah, so again, I have not read the rule book. I have not played the game yet. I really hope that Board and Dice sends me a copy, because I was a big fan of the game when I first played it, despite all of its problems or issues. But it was a diamond in the rough. Hopefully they've dealt with all those issues there. It looks good. Yeah. It looks good. So it's on GameFound if you want to check it out. Trismegistus. A new version and a better version, I'm hoping. All right, Chris. So that brings us up to our roll for review. Chris, you wanted to talk about 2 games this week. Why don't you start us off with one of them?
All right. So, first game up is a classic game. Many people might have heard of it or played it before. It's called Rummikub or Rummikub. I've heard people call it every different variation of Rummy, add whatever you want to the end.
This is the episode where we don't pronounce anything correctly.
We don't pronounce anything here.
So we feel really bad about that. I mean, sincerely.
Here at BGA, we slur everything out, so you can't realize we don't know how to pronounce it.
We don't.
So I've been playing Rummikub now for about like a month and a half, probably on a weekly basis. Okay. At my job, I've started a Rummikub club.
Oh, nice.
And I've been playing Rummikub with people who are in assisted living, and it was a way to start getting people to sit down and just kind of engage with each other a bit more. And there were 2 residents that really loved Rummikub, but they had no idea if anybody else knew. And so I learned it. I sat down, I played with them so that they can get a 3-player game going. And I think yesterday we had a game. We did the Rummikub Club, and so that little 3-man group of me and 2 other residents has now expanded to about, I think, 14 people. And these are people who haven't spoken to each other before this club. They never did any activities together. A lot of them would seclude themselves in their room, And now, at the very least, I know these people are coming out once a week to play Rummikub with us for like 2 to 3 hours, which is really cool. And I've even caught them like throughout the day, just like starting games up on their own. Rummikub is something that I never would have thought I would have loved as much as I do. And I even bought my own copy this last weekend and played it a few times at home. So, for people who don't know what Rummikub is, um, players start off with 14 tiles. These tiles are numbered 1 through 13. It's supposed to be sort of like the suits of cards in a deck. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to play sets of the same number, but they have to be different suits, or a run of consecutive numbers, all of the same suit. And you're trying to play that from the rack of tiles that you have in front of you. If you don't have anything that you can play, you draw a new tile. But the big like twist in the game that really makes this kind of like pop, and why I see now why so many people love this game. You are able to manipulate any set and run that any player plays that's on the table to play tiles from your own rack. So you can, if somebody has a really large run, you can split it, take a tile, add your own numbers in, whatever it takes, so long as at the end of your turn, all the groups of tiles that are on the table are legal, which means they have to be either same number of different suits or consecutive number of the same suit, and they have to be in groups of 3 or more. And generally, you're supposed to have about like a minute to do your turn, so there's a very big like stressful time element to it. We play with no time limit, but once the table kind of looks each other in size, the person whose turn it is kind of gets the hint and says, "Okay, I'll take a tile," and they go on. So we've gotten very competitive. A few people have started betting money on games.
Oh, no.
I saw a game where it was a $20 buy-in. So
Oh, boy.
yeah, so they're getting pretty intense and pretty competitive with it. And I have to say, like this like weird, it's very weird that like a game that is as old as this one is, it has so much freedom to it because
Mm-hmm.
it's up to you to kind of solve that puzzle, and because you're moving and manipulating so many tiles, even when it's not your turn, the game is forcing you to stay engaged. Because if you are not thinking about what tiles are being played, what can I play, how can I move it, and thinking of these like 15-step manipulations of the tile to get you to play one blue 7, like you're constantly trying to rack your brain around that puzzle. And it's just, the game really just forces you to stay engaged with it the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah, my family plays this a lot, and we've really enjoyed it over the years. The idea of having the runs of numbers, but also the colors,
Yeah.
and the wild ones as
Oh
well.
yeah, the Jokers. Forgot to bring up the Jokers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Jokers can be any number, any color. But it's really cool that if you substitute it with the actual number or color that it's trying to imitate, you get to
Mm-hmm.
change what that Joker is into a completely new number or color. So yeah.
Yeah, this game has a long history. It used to be played in Europe using 2 deck of cards,
Hmm.
but then it was outlawed under the communist regime, and then a designer brought it in tile form so that they could actually get it played. And now there's been multiple versions of it, but it's it's one of those games where you kind of see it everywhere, so you don't really think about it
Yeah.
too much. But it's getting a lot of play. Like it's not just like Chris, like your group and my family. I know a lot of other gamers out there who just run this consecutively
Yeah.
because it's something quick and easy to get to table, and it's a really good gateway game because all you're doing is matching up colors and numbers. That's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
But
So,
there's still strategy to it. Like there you
oh yeah,
you it's not a game that is just like luck of the draw. There really is a lot of strategy of like, what do I want to play on the table? Because then anybody else can
yes,
use it. Do I hold on to this? Do I just try to like goad someone into playing a number I really need them to play? There's a lot of really
yes.
cool like strategy and tactics. And let me tell you, these ladies, they are brutal. They will block numbers and they will
Oh no.
stare you down if you take something they wanted to use. It is so much fun playing with them. I've had an
That's
absolute
fantastic.
blast.
So, Chris, this is a buy for you, I'm
Oh,
assuming.
I've already bought it. I bought my copy last week.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
kept telling
This
them
is
I was going to buy it, and then I was like, you know what? Let me just hop on my phone now, and I just bought like the travel version.
Yeah, I think for a family game, certainly this is a buy for me as well.
Yeah.
I think this is it's light. The tiles are light, they're thin, easily playable by a lot of different
Oh yeah.
people. Language independent.
Yeah, language
You don't,
independent,
you know,
very large, high contrast numbers on the tiles, so people with low
yes,
vision can also play it. Um, yeah,
easy for your fingers. Like people, if they're a little
yeah.
challenged.
I'm
Uh,
playing with people who have in very very limited use of their dexterity, and
hmm
they're playing this with ease. I have people who, like they have severe cataracts and they have difficulty seeing, and they're playing with no problem, with no assistance.
That's great.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's colorblind friendly.
there are versions they make now that are colorblind friendly.
Okay.
Because I've seen that I believe it was the blue was a big issue for people. And
Okay.
so I think their newer versions now replace the blue with a very color blind friendly red. And then they
Gotcha.
have the large tile version of the game. So they're not significantly larger, seeing the
hmm
difference now, but they're a little bit thicker and they're just big enough to kind of like not be cumbersome, but you can kind of spot numbers from across the table, which is kind of what you need.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we ran out of copies to play because we had too many people playing yesterday, and so we had one person was like, "I have a copy in my room," and they ran to their room. They came down with a copy, and it must have been like the copy that their grandparents gave them.
Oh
It
wow.
was in this old ornate wooden box. The tiles were so tiny, and instead of having the numbers 1 through 13, it was 1 through 10,
Yes.
Jack, Queen, King,
Oh
and
wow.
the Jack Queen King looked pretty much identical from across the table. Even I had problems where I would grab a tile and be like, I'll put this Joker with these Jokers, and they'd be like, that's a queen. I was like, what do you mean it's a queen? And then on the top right, there was just a tiny little Q, but like the rest of the art for the Jack Queen King was almost identical, and so we had to stop
hmm
playing with that one because we're like, we can't do this. It's like even
Sure.
I can't notice what the heck I'm playing at this point.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that's Rummikub. Check that out.
Oh yeah.
And and tell us about your other game here, Chris.
Oh, so the other game is Flip 7.
Oh, Spiel Jahres nominee.
Yes, the very same. So I met up with a few friends of mine upstate a couple weeks ago, and I found a copy of Flip 7. To say found, I hunted down a copy of Flip 7 at a Walmart because I really wanted to get my hands on this game, and it was worth every second of checking a couple of WalMarts to get this. Um, so Flip 7, very simple game. You have a deck of cards. You have one copy of one, two copies of two, three copies of three, and on and on and on up until 12. You have one person that deals out cards to everybody at the table. And when it's your turn, you tell them whether you want another card and hit me, blackjack style, or you bow out. And so what you're trying to do is be the first to get 200 points by collecting these cards. The point value of the cards is what the card is, so you don't have to worry about 10 is 10 points. Um, and what you're trying to do is make sure you don't get duplicates. So the higher the value card, the more copies there are, the more likely it's going to make it a bust. So if you have, let's say, a 10 and a 12 in front of you, chances of you drawing another 10 or another 12, pretty likely. There's a little bit of like weird card counting that you can sort of do in this game
Yeah.
because as rounds go, the cards don't get shuffled back into the deck until the deck gets depleted. So you can kind
Yes.
of get a feel for like, well, how many copies of 10 already went out? How many fives did people play? And you sort of get this like weird feeling of like, you know what? Maybe tens might be safe because I feel like I saw enough tens, and then you flip two cards over and you see a 10. Um, and then you also have these very interesting little card abilities that will pop up. and they're all pretty
Mm-hmm.
simple.
Yes.
Freeze is to force somebody to leave the round early and just score whatever they have. Draw 3 is you force someone to draw 3 cards.
Mm-hmm.
Extra second chance is if you do get a card that would have made you bust, you instead discard the card and you can keep going. And I believe that's all the bonus cards.
I think that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you're just trying to be the first to get to 200 points.
Yeah. If you the only thing added, Chris, that you forgot was if you're able to draw 7,
Oh yes,
then you get a bonus 15
yeah.
points.
Oh, you get was it 50 points? I believe is what it was. Right?
I thought it was 15, but maybe it's 50.
Yeah, I
That'd be
think
nice.
it's 50. So yeah,
Okay.
that's actually that's why it's called Flip 7. Yeah, if you get 7 different
Yeah.
numbered cards, it does the ability cards don't count. The round ends, so everyone scores whatever they have if they're still in it, and then you get a bonus 50 points.
Flip cards in your line automatically end the round for everyone and score. It's 15, Chris.
Oh, it's 15?
It's 15.
Oh shoot, we might have played
Yeah.
over 50. You know what? I recommend everybody up that to 50 points.
Yes.
Makes the game
Yeah,
fly by.
Yeah, you score an extra 15 points, but there's also modifier cards.
Yes.
These are like orange ticket cards that also are in the deck. So you have the action cards, those 3 action cards Chris mentioned, the number cards 0 to 12. Ironically, there's 1 0.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And then the score modifiers are plus or times. So it's either like +2, +4, +6, +8, +10, or a ×2 card.
Yeah, there's
really
one ×2 card in the game.
Yeah.
Which, let me tell you, I don't think I saw a single person score that card the entire weekend.
Fantastic. Yeah, I got to play this about a dozen times on Board Game Arena because, again, it was up there for Spiel Jahres. I was like, I need to check this out now because I heard a lot about it. And it is, as you said, Chris, like it's very fast playing and it's a very simple game because basically all you're doing is you're getting one card regardless. And then you make a decision whether you stay or you take another card.
Yeah.
And then there's only one other decision which sometimes pops up is if you get one of those special cards, you could decide to give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
That's some weird kind of one-off kind of thing. The thing is, like you mentioned, the higher the number, the more points you score if you're able to keep those cards, but then the more cards there are of it. So a 12 gives you 12 points, but there's 12s in there.
Mm-hmm.
And going bust is easy. The card counting thing was the really interesting thing for me. I didn't do any card counting because I just really didn't want to mentally be involved with that. But you certainly could and really kind of like jack that game up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, if you're seeing that X number of cards are out of that deck already and you got a card, you can really make a real serious run.
Yeah.
Other than just like pressing your luck blindly.
So I feel like for me, when it comes to games that where you have things like card counting, or you can get like a really solid feel of like what cards are left in the game. My approach is usually always to be like things like that, especially for a game like Flip 7. It works better if everybody understands they can do it, but no one is going very like try hard on it. Like if somebody's sitting there and memorizing 7 8 7 8 7 8, okay, there's only 1 8 left. There's only 1 8 left. I'm good. I'm good. Like if someone is doing that, I feel like it almost takes away from the game because it's one of those games where the stakes are so low. You busting around, you're not sitting there like, oh my god, this sucks. Like you're gonna be back in the game in like 30 seconds. And
yeah. I mean, to be fair, it is lousy when you draw a card. Let's say you draw a 6, and then you press your luck to get another card, and you get another 6, and you're like, well, I'm done.
I actually think that's great.
Yeah.
I think because I think it gives a moment on the table where you have this really cool opportunity, right? You get let's say this actually happened to us. Somebody drew a 2, and what are the odds? The only other card in that entire deck that could bust you is another 2. And then what does he flip when it comes back to his turn? Is the only other 2 in the game. And he had this really cool moment where clearly he busted, he's out, it feel bad, right? but you have this chance to like ham it up and laugh it out, and it kind of gives everyone this really funny moment to just like not laugh at you, but laugh at how silly the circumstances. Because again, like if you were doing this in right, like let's say you had a similar thing that happened in Terraforming Mars, right? It would suck because it's the stakes are higher, the game is longer, you're more involved in it. But a game like Flip Seven, you bust because you drew the only other two, or you drew a six, and even the lows go away fairly quickly, and if you can turn it into a very fun table moment, because you know what, like out of all the hands we dealt out, I just see it so clearly when my friend drew that second two, and then he was just on his knees going, oh my god, who did I wrong here, like what which cursed me, like
I mean, I played at least 2 or 3 games where I was just busting on 2 cards almost every round.
Mhm.
Like I got a 9, I got a 9, I got a 10, I got a 10, I got a 7, I got a 7.
Yeah.
And for me that was not fun. Like I don't like, and then other people just randomly pressing their luck was able to get a line of cards
Mhm.
or get those modifiers or those second chance
Yeah.
cards. And I'm like, well, you guys second chance card, I busted on 2 4s. Okay, I'll wait until you're done. Like you said, it doesn't take long to get back to
Mhm.
you, but I never really felt like I was making any meaningful decisions. The games I did win is when I was like, I'm almost always going to take 2 cards or at least something that equals 20.
Yeah.
And then I played like super safe. I was like, you got 20, like a 10 and 11, done. Like there's no way I'm going for another card. Or like a 6, a 5, and a 3 or something. And I'm just like, maybe one more. And then sometimes you do have a runaway leader,
Mhm.
just because once someone pulls together like a 40-point hand, then it's almost impossible to catch up as long as they're just doing small hands.
But
Like
that's the
it's really
thing. But
rough.
then you have to press against them. Like it's
You do.
yeah. Like if you let that person who gets the lead, someone gets a 40-point hand, someone gets the flip seven, right? And then
Yeah.
even when we were playing with like 50-point bonus for flip seven, like right, crazy, right? That's a quarter of the points you need to win. But
Yeah.
it was the fact that like instead it made us all like want to bite deeper, and it was
Sure.
really just like, oh, he got flip seven, that scrub got flip seven, no way, like even though in reality pure luck 99% of the time, but like it
Yeah.
makes you feel like if this guy can get it, I can totally get it, like, and it really made us like push harder and get stupider and stupider hands, where it's like someone was at like 5 cards, they had 10, 11, 12, and they were still like, yeah, hit me, why wouldn't, like, of course, why am I
That's
stopping
crazy.
here, I gotta keep going.
No.
And
No way,
but
man.
you know what, like with those high highs come those low lows, and when you bounce back it's fun. It's the game that like I feel like you don't take it seriously, where it's like you're still in it to win. Like in my head, you're always in it to win. But like when you bust on double six, it's just the like, like you look at the deck, you flip it off, you go, whatever. Like
It just doesn't feel like I'm making any really meaningful
Mhm.
choices because I'm always going to get a card to start with.
Yeah.
And then I can't imagine. I mean, I'm assuming maybe some people, if they get a 12, maybe they'll stop, but then they're in for a very long game. You almost have to take at least a second card. And then it's like, it's out of your control what happens. My problem with this is,
Mhm.
Chris, you made a good point off mic. It's like, is this similar to kind of like blackjack,
Yeah.
right? But I think the card counting is a little easier there. And I don't think you bust as much with that because 2 cards wins. You can win with 2
Yeah.
cards. You can pull a 10 and an ace or 2 10s or 2 face cards. And there's betting in that game. Here, you're pressing your luck because you have to, because someone's jumped ahead of you, or someone's just playing silly and gets a
But
line of
this thing,
cards.
it's a game like this is just a game of chicken, right? It's the like I'm pushing because I have more points than you, and what I like about this, instead of it being
Mm-hmm.
okay, Chris, I deal you a card, and you say hit me, hit me, hit me, and then you bust, and then I gotta go to the next person, right? And then he goes hit me, hit me, hit me. Like if the game made that one simple rule change of I go one person, then one person, then one person
Hmm.
until they're out for the round. The game, I would tell you right now, would be horrible because then if I saw that you busted and the next guy busted, I'm going to take maybe 2 3 cards and I'm stopping there. Why take the risk?
Yeah.
Because you guys bowed out or you guys lost, and I only need an
Hmm.
incremental win. But the fact that it goes, you get a card, the next person gets a card, the next person gets a card,
Yeah.
that one little rule change makes this game now really game of chicken. Because why would I, if I've got 14, but you just got 17, why am I going to stop? Like if I bust, like who cares if I can beat you or if I can goad you into, taking an extra card and busting because you got, a 10-10. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I just feel like there's the possibility of busting is so incredibly high
Hmm.
that I never really feel like I'm actually active in that process. And like I said, I played it about a dozen times. I won about 3 times, maybe 4 times out of that.
Hmm.
And really, it was only like I decided early on I'm taking 2 cards, or I'm stopping at like 20, and I'm just going to stop.
Okay.
And because again, like you said, you could bust with fours because there's just a number of fours. Once the deck runs out and then it refills, then again the card counting becomes obsolete for that
Yeah,
moment.
for that round.
So yeah, so I mean, for me, it's more of a game experience. Like maybe I think you might have said, Chris, like it's just it for me, it's an experience. Like
Okay.
you're gonna flip cards over, they're gonna do things. It's kind of out of your control. You're not betting, you're not strategizing.
I mean,
Uh,
you can make the decisions when you get things like the freeze card, the draw three.
yeah,
Like I like
they're
there were plenty of
few and far
time.
between though.
Yeah, I mean
They're few and far
they're
between.
not
Yeah,
common, but I mean like that also
no,
comes with the weight of the game. Like it is meant to be like a light game,
yeah.
shallow decisions, but like at least with the freeze card, you can freeze somebody early out of a round, especially if you see that they have a second chance card. You can just freeze them, make them pretty much like
Hmm.
use it up. If someone's really in the lead, you could throw them a draw three. Uh, I think more times than not, people who got the draw three card used it on themselves, just so that
Mm.
way they can draw up and almost like pressure other people to have to draw more. And I feel like that's what we ended up using the draw three most of the time. And it wasn't even a silly like ha 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 ha. I'm just drawing a three. It was more like I've got a four and a one. Like yeah, make me draw three because I want to be able to draw
Sure.
some tens and elevens right now. Because if I'm gonna bust, I want to I need some big numbers first at least. And when you have that second chance, you just go and you push and you push and you push. Like that becomes your opportunity to try to like really like get as much as you can. And a lot of times what I saw was people like they got too close to the sun and they would sometimes they would bust the first time and they would say I'm done, okay, I'm good. Other people would be like I bust the first time, okay, can't happen to me a second time. And it's that gambler's fallacy and they just try to like push push
Yeah.
push.
Well, Chris, is this a buy? I mean, you did run out and buy this game.
I bought it, and then actually I bought 3 copies for people to play at my job. So not only is it a buy, it's a quadruple buy for me.
Well, there you go. I mean, I think there's going to be some crazy money dropping on that game too,
I'm
though.
really curious to see what people will buy. Oh, will like bet for that game.
I 100% agree. This is a very good super gateway game
Yeah.
for people who don't play tabletop games.
I feel like
So
also for the price point, it's like seven
yes,
dollars. For seven
I
dollars,
100%.
you
Yeah,
you get your money's worth honestly in a single game. I feel if you play it once and you go, it's not for me. I feel like for $7, it's worth that chance.
yeah. For me, the game is a dodge. I played it more than enough, and then even though it's fast, like I said, at no point did I really feel like I was purposely doing anything. So it's gonna be a dodge for me, Chris.
Okay. I
All
love
right. Well,
differing
that leads
opinions.
absolutely. It's in a game experience kind of situation, it works.
Mhm.
But for me, it doesn't feel like a game. It feels like when you're playing War. Do you ever play War as a kid
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
cards? It feels like that.
Okay.
Like you're just playing cards and like whatever happens. You're just like, I did a thing. Like, okay, that's fair. You
Hmm.
did a thing. So that's what it felt like to me playing that game. But for some audiences, perfectly reasonable and justified. And again, you know, hit up Chris's nursing home because there's a lot of gambling going on there. So there you go, people. All
Come
right,
in,
now
lose
on
some
to
money.
our feature review. So for our feature review this week, again, as always, the voice of the gamers. And this week, our special guest, Chris, the voice of the gamers from Board Games of the Better, has brought us his top 10 dexterity games. Chris, dexterity games, that's kind of an odd term, right? Because tabletop games, you're touching pieces all the time. You're moving things, right?
Yeah, I have some maybe very polarizing opinions on what a dexterity game is. And
Ooh, you got
after
some hot takes?
Yeah, and after looking at what Board Game Geek lists as dexterity games, I got words to pick with them.
Oh, it's on.
Yeah.
He's going to flick at you guys. Watch out. He's about to flick.
So, so I've got my top 10 list. There are a few games in here that, in my head, they are dexterity games. And so when we get to those, we can talk a bit more about them. But yeah, so let's start at my number 10. I'm going to start off with Crokinole.
Oh,
Yeah.
classic.
Oh yeah. So I feel like this is this for most people is probably higher on the dexterity list. I hear it talked about all the time as like the greatest dexterity game of all time. And while yes, absolutely amazing. And there are other games here that people are going to be like, how did you put this above Crokinole? I will say one, Crokinole is expensive.
It is.
Two, Crokinole takes up a lot of space.
It does. It's huge.
Yeah, and you have to maintain a Crokinole board. There's a lot that goes into Crokinole. The gliss powder for Crokinole gets everywhere. For you to bring it somewhere, you gotta have a whole case for it. If you knock, I've seen people who knocked their Crokinole board on the stairs going down from their apartment and cracking their board. And so, like, it's a game that, for the most part, stays at home. And so it really makes it difficult to get Crokinole on the table. There are plenty of Crokinole clubs around. There's like 2 or 3 in New York alone. I encourage anybody and everybody to find your local Crokinole club and play this game if you haven't. Going to the club means that you can play this game without having to pay for it. You get to try this amazing game that's been played for countless years. I really can't recommend it enough. Yeah, it is. There's very few things as satisfying as flicking a Crokinole like disc across the board and just watching it glide on how well these boards are made.
Yeah, it's when you look at it from a distance, it doesn't look like much.
No,
and then it can be a little intimidating because it's a rather big board, and anytime you have to flick something, it's a little intimidating. And you just sit down and you start playing with it, and it's very intuitive, and it works out really well. Like you said, well-maintained boards do what they're meant to do.
Yeah, and like the rules are very simple. They're very easy to pick up. So, like I like that it's sort of just like the rules are very basic, and the decision on how you want to approach each turn you have is really up to you. What disc you're going to aim for, where you want your disc to land. What you want to bounce off of. There's like, it's really up to you. They're like, the rules don't limit your options terribly, which is what I really like about a lot of dexterity games, where your opportunities to be creative in dexterity games is almost limitless for a lot of these.
Very true.
So number 9, this is a newer game called Barbecubes by Alley Cat Games. And so this is a dexterity game where you're flipping cards to put food onto a barbecue, and the barbecue is made from these really nice little wooden slats that fit inside the tin that makes the game box. So the game box becomes the board, which is always very cute. And this is a game that has something that I spoke about earlier with like an equalizer. So before we talked about like drawing equalizer with the pre-drawn lines and what was that game called? The one for the Kinderspiel. So in Barbecubes, everyone has to place the pieces in with tweezers. And so you'll flip a
Nice.
card and it'll tell you like you need to grill this fish on a single bar. And so you're going to balance it on a single bar. And the next person has to put a hamburger on 2 bars. And the next person has to put a sausage on 2 bars. And then you kind of keep going and flipping cards. Eventually, the grill gets very full. And if you ever drop something into the grill, you take a card. If on your second card that you take, you're out of the game. And it's the last person that's in wins. It's a very simple game. It's very cute. It's very portable. I love that all the meat that's in it is very like pixelated. It gives a nice little like retro feel to it. And there is a veggie version that you can get as well
Yeah,
from Alley Cat.
that's mine.
And so, oh, you have the veggie version? Nice. So,
Yeah.
what we started doing was we've mixed together the veggie and the meat version. And what we will do is when you're playing, you'll use both grills, and the meat and veggies cannot touch. And it kind
There you
of
go.
it lets 2 people play at a time because one side of the table will be taking from the veggie deck, the other people will get from the meat deck, and then you're just both trying to place these things on the grill. And you're just trying to make sure if meat and veggies ever touch, that person loses a point. So it's been a very fun game playing barbecues, and I always love little portable dexterity games.
Very nice.
Number 8 is Rubik's Race, which by saying that, I'm pretty sure my wife will roll her eyes and try to throw the box further back into the closet where it is. It is a game where you are shuffling up these little cubes, and you're trying to shift around these tiles on the board to make the 3x3 design that is in the middle of the table. And the first person who does it gets to flip this plastic thing down and show that they got the 3x3 in the center of the board. And you're gonna do. We do usually best 2 out of 3 because games go so quickly. It's a very fun spatial puzzle trying to shift around these tiles the whole time, and it's something that I tend to really have a knack for. My wife does not, so this makes it out to my number 8 because it's so quick. It really the game ends and you're able to just shake that little box to get a new like 3x3 pattern and just start a new round.
Hmm.
And so it gets really addictive. You sit there and before you realize that you've played 20 rounds of it and only like 10 minutes have passed. So Rubik's Race for sure is my top 10 now.
Nice.
Mhm. Number 7 is Drop Holter. This
Hmm.
is a newer game. I believe I got this from PAX last year. Um,
Yeah.
it's from Oink Games, and it's a really cool idea where you have, I believe it's like 6 different items in your hand, and in the center of the table, you'll flip a card, and it'll tell you which items you have to drop out of your hand. And then when you do that, you'll grab the ghost in the middle of the table. First person who does that will throw a little bell into their hand. And this goes back in with all the other little pieces that you're trying to manipulate. First person to have 5 bells in their hand wins the game. But if at any time, at any point in the game, if a bell drops from your hand and hits the table, that point is lost. And so you're trying to manipulate things, and the more points you get, the more difficult it becomes to manipulate these things and drop what you need to drop. Really, really cute game. It's again something that you're going to see a lot here. Portability for dexterity games for me is a huge plus, just because
Sure.
they're games that you can teach in about 5 seconds. You can play. They get great table moments. Just always a huge like pull for me. So Drop Alter number 7.
Excellent. I like that game a lot.
Oh yeah. Number 6 is Clask, and so I kind of went back and forth a bit between Crokinole and Clask, where to put these two. So I put Crokinole at 10 because it's a bit more cumbersome than it is for Clask. Clask also gives me this feel of air hockey that really hits a little bit of nostalgia for me as a kid. When I had a little air hockey table, I used to play with my sister all the time. So Clask gives me that same feeling. Um, Very fun use of magnets in that game, which again I think is a very underutilized material for board games. I feel like magnets is something that we should be like playing way more in games than we do. And yeah, so it's a simple game of essentially air hockey where if you ever lose your piece or if you score a goal, you'll get a point. If you ever get these two little magnets, which are adorably called biscuits, your opponent gets a point. And so there's enough going on in the game where you're trying to like really either like get somebody to get the magnets or get them to lose their piece because they move too quickly. It's just a very fun game that I feel like I like playing more than Crokinole nowadays, just because it feels lighter. It feels a little bit less stressful, even.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Mhm. Number 5 is Ice Cool. If you've never played
Mm.
Ice Cool, I encourage everybody to look it up, see how adorable it is, and give it a shot. It is a
Penguins.
it's an adorable game of penguins playing tag. Um, It is a game where one person is the seeker and everybody else is trying to run away from them. You're trying to pass through specific doors on this map that is made up of multiple boxes that fit into each other to make the game box. So the design of it is really cool. The theme is amazing. The little penguins are designed that if you flick them in such a way, you can even make them hop over walls. And so you get to make these really cool trick shots. There's Ice Cool 1 and Ice Cool 2. If you can afford it, grab both of them because you can combine them both to make bigger maps. If
Yeah.
you only get one, I would say please get Ice Cool 2. It is,
Ooh,
yeah.
okay.
So Ice Cool 2 comes with cards that let you perform trick shots to get more scoring cards, which is just this little extra thing that Ice Cool 1 doesn't have that makes the
Mm-hmm.
game just a bit more fun because you get to pretty much be like, all right, I'm going to show you this card. And this card says, if I can jump over this wall, I'll get an extra point card. And if you bust out that move and you do it, you reap the rewards. If not, it's really no harm, no foul. You can't use the 1 point card for other things, but it gives you just an opportunity to kind of like not just make the optimal move, but sometimes just make cool moves.
True. Yeah, I
Um,
played this a lot. It's kids get a kick out of it. They
yeah.
do that little weeble wobble kind of
Oh
thing so they
yeah,
don't
all the
fall
penguins
down.
weeble wobble and it's adorable. I've played this with my
Mm-hmm.
nephews. I've played this with friends. My friends took me out once to a board game bar. We played this for the first time there, and I bought a copy that day. It was just so much fun, and it's such an interesting like way that the boxes slot into each other, and you can make multiple
Mm-hmm.
maps. It's just a really cool design overall.
True.
Uh, Tinder Blocks is number 4. Similar to Barbecues, this is an Alley Cat game that follows their Tin series. I think is what they're calling them now, and this is the one that started it. So similar to Barbecues, it's a dexterity game where you're trying to manipulate things with these little tweezers. So again, another equalizer. We really love those. Kind of evens the playing field for people who might have dexterity issues, or me. I have a bit of a shaky hand sometimes, so it kind of helps me play these games with everybody else. So in Tinder Blocks, you're trying to build a fire, which a lot of times does not look like a fire. But you'll flip a card and it'll tell you like how to organize these little cubes in long rectangles, and you have to balance it on top of a fire, and the fire gets bigger and it gets more cumbersome to place things. Uh, I recommend playing with the Marshmallows expansion because the Marshmallow expansion kind of limits where you can put things. Because if the marshmallow ever touches the fire, the marshmallow burns. You have to take everything that touched the marshmallow off. And one, they're just really cute little wooden pieces. And two, they're circular. So when you try to pick them up with the tweezers, they sometimes will fling out and like blast off, which is really, really fun whenever you see it happen, but also very nerve wracking. um,
It's true.
yeah. And then number 3 is this is where I think I said before, like some of my ideas of what a dexterity game might be a little polarizing. So number 3 for me is Bullet Heart. Um,
Ooh,
yeah, so
here he goes.
so this is I only put one of these games in. There were a few other ones that I wanted to put on this top
Mm-hmm.
10 list, but I kind of tried to stick to a bit more like what are usual dexterity games.
Yes.
So things like Bullet Heart, it's a real time game where you're taking these wooden chips out of a bag, you're putting them onto your board, and then you have abilities that can manipulate where these tokens go. And so you can move things, swap things, you can take them out, you can pass them to your opponent. Um, and there's a time element. You usually have about 3 minutes to empty your bag of all the tokens. So doesn't really fit dexterity games like all the others did. But I see it as a dexterity game. And I was actually really surprised when I checked BGG and it wasn't listed as dexterity. Because you have this time limit, you have to be somewhat dexterous to manipulate these things. Because you are moving tokens all over, you're using your hands for these, and even though you're not flicking them or you're not tossing them, there is a good amount of dexterity that goes into this game. And in my head, I feel like things like Bullet Heart or Pandemic Rapid Response, where you're manipulating a lot of pieces in a very short amount of time. In my head, that I would call that being a dexterity game. So I'm curious to see what you think about it. I'm curious to see what listeners also think about it.
Yeah.
Um, I imagine a lot of people would be like, "Well, that's just a real time game," and it might be, but
Yeah.
but also at the same time, worker placement games in my head are also action selection games.
Sure.
there are mechanics that I feel like have a lot of overlap with each other, and at least in this case, for things like Bullet Heart and Pandemic Rapid Response, I feel like dexterity and real time have that overlap.
I agree. I think there's so many. I mean, every tabletop game has dexterity elements where you're just moving things around,
Yeah.
but the action element of dexterity game usually comes into play when it's a certain skill that's being employed. I don't know how much skill it necessarily is a flick skill, like when you're flicking a thing, but obviously there is tremendous skill in that.
Hmm.
But when you're playing a real time game that has components that you have to move in real time, then hand speed obviously and agility and precision obviously is very important. And
Hmm.
when you play that game specifically, Bullet has it's the pressure's on you
Yeah.
for sure. So I think it carries. I think we'll accept it. I think we're good.
Thank you for accepting.
Yeah. If there's a rage in the comments, we'll let people know. We'll tell people.
So, number two is Suspend.
Mm-hmm.
This is a game that you might have seen at like Targets and things like that. In like the toy section, might have not
Mm-hmm.
looked like a board game because when you see it, it's just a plastic tube with metal rods and a few wooden pieces. So
Mm-hmm.
the way Suspend works is you're rolling a die. The die will show you a color, and then you will hang that color bar on top of this little hook mechanism that's in the middle. And the next person rolls, and they get a similar color. They hang it on top, and you're just trying to hang all these bars without anything falling. Um, the reason I put Suspend on here is because um, we've done a lot of game days with the charity,
Yeah.
and I think literally at every single event that we've done, we've brought out Suspend. It has been a huge hit for people of all ages. I've seen adults of all ages laugh and have fun and have moments of pure terror as they're trying to balance these bars there. I've seen kids scream, jump, run around, and have every emotion under the sun. I have had a blast playing this with my family and with strangers. I feel like it's a game where it gives you something that every single one of these games has, and what makes them such good dexterity games is that like butt
Mm-hmm.
clenching moment when you feel so tense about that like having to place whatever it is there that you just feel this like tightness in all over your body. You're like, oh my god, I don't want to put this here. If I put this bar here, if I flip this cube, if I drop this one thing, the whole tower comes tumbling down. It's that feeling you had when you were playing Jenga as a kid and you would see the
Yes.
tower just slightly tilt towards one side. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
those are things that make dexterity games great, and I feel like Suspend really gets that. Um, at the very end of it, whenever people do get to a point where they've played all the bars and they sort of finish the game, there's this like moment of like, wow, it looks so cool. And it's like this big metal abstract like creation that you've made that everyone always just looks with like amazement. Yeah, I feel like Suspend has definitely earned its spot here for number two.
Excellent.
Yeah. And
And Chris, that
then
leaves us to the number one game
yeah.
of Dexterity Top 10s for you.
So number one for me is Nekojima. And this is a game I believe it was picked up recently by somebody in the US. Um, I got this game as a Kickstarter a while back, and it is an adorable game of an island full of cats. And you're trying to like put up these electrical poles that are essentially in the game. They are these two very chunky wooden cylinders with a string that connects the two of them. And at the beginning of your turn, you roll two dice, and whatever colors show up, that's where each of the poles have to go to. And sometimes you'll have to hang these little wooden cats over the light poles. And this game is again, it's so much fun. It has all the butt clenching moments. It has a co-op mode that is really fun, and it does not seem tacked on at all, where each player gets one part of the pole. And you can only use that part of the pole, and so you're trying to like manipulate this very annoying like gaming piece with just half of it under your control. You have so many different modules you can play with in it. It's just got like it has a mode for I feel like for everybody, and for all like difficulty. And the theme is great. The what the game is made out of, I feel like is like it's perfect for a dexterity game. It's chunky, it's fun to mess around with. You see it on the board, you get to make this big like giant skyscraper of wooden pieces and rope and cats. I feel like I can't get enough of playing Nekojima.
Yeah, I remember we played it, and it was a lot of fun. And as far as dexterity games are concerned, this was the game that I feared the most. Because I think all of us took several steps back away from the table while that was being played.
Yeah, because
it was funny.
It gets so big, it becomes intimidating. And then you're sitting there, and you're like, I don't want to be anywhere near this when it falls.
Yeah, and it plays co-op or competitive, and both ways are just as tense and tight.
Oh yeah,
throughout the way. And again, cats, man, they get everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They do all the things.
Yeah, the cat theme is adorable. The board and everything, like the way it's made, is such high quality. I feel like they really went above and beyond for Nekojima.
Absolutely. All right, well, everyone, there you go. Our top 10 dexterity games from our good friend Chris from Board Games for the Better. Definitely check out his website, and definitely support your community by getting great games to the table, whether that's through Chris's organization or just take your games out. Take them out to somewhere and teach some other people to play. Because again, it builds community, and now more than ever, that's what we need. Until next time, this is Chris.
And this is Chris.
And we'll save you all a seat at the table. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Hey there, Hugh from Podderation here, and if you like today's show, why not have a listen to the All Things Nintendo podcast? Hosted by Brian Shea, former director and Game Informer and lifelong games journalist, the show explores the ins and outs of gaming's oldest company and one of its biggest, featuring interviews, featuring reviews, featuring everything you want to know about the world of Nintendo. If you'd like to learn more, check out our website at podderation.com.